Hello and welcome to today's episode of the podcast. I'm going to talk about this scarf today because I'm releasing the pattern later today, and then I'm also going to talk about two scarves which I showed you last week or 2 weeks ago, but I've actually blocked them now, so I'm going to show you what they look like finished. And then I have 6 projects in progress or new projects. I've had a bit of a castanitis, I think, since last week. I've got a couple of things that I haven't cast on yet, but I'm ready to cast on today. And I also have 1 or 2 that I cast on since last week, I think. I got 1 that's nearly finished, and I was trying really hard yesterday to finish it, and I failed. And then I got 1 that's on the needles, but I can't find it at the moment. But we'll chat about all of that in today's episode. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you're new here, my name is Anniken. I design knitting patterns. I teach knitting workshops online and in person, and I sell yarn through my website YarnAddict.co.uk. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. So before we start, just 2 very quick notices. I have 50% off my website at the moment. Everything on my website, yarn, my books, crochet hooks for adding beads, some knitting notions, everything is 15% off. It was supposed to finish on the 16th of March, but I haven't been very good at promoting it on social media this week. I've not been very good at doing anything on social media this week, to be quite honest. So I've decided to extend it till the 23rd of March. And this scarf, there's a 25% discount on this pattern also until the 23rd of March. And I'll put the codes on the screen and below this video, and I'll put all the links as well. You can get this pattern, which is called Bergen. You can get it on Payhip and Ravelry. And I have the yarn for this on the website, which we'll also talk about in a minute. So let's talk about this scarf first. I released this for Unravel, but I didn't release it online. I would have released it online like the week after Unravel if I hadn't been going to Norway. But because I was going to Norway and I didn't take my laptop with me, I thought I could do a certain amount of work on my parents' laptop, but it wasn't as easy as I thought it would be. So I didn't do any work hardly at all in Norway, apart from the bare minimum. Did a lot of knitting, but not a lot of other stuff. So I was going to release it last week, and then because I only got back early Thursday morning, like midnight Thursday morning, to get this out in time for Friday's newsletter was just too much. I was just too tired, so I didn't. So I'm releasing this today. I have another pattern that's also ready for release, and then I got some that are going to the tech editor that should be fairly quick to tech edit. So I should have a flurry of pattern coming out over the next couple of months, which I'm quite excited about. So this is the Bergen scarf, or if you're Norwegian, because it's named after the town in Norway called Bergen. If you're Norwegian, it's pronounced Bergen. But I would guess most people would pronounce it Bergen, because I don't know how many of you who watch me are actually from Norway. If you're from Norway, tell me. But in Norwegian, it's pronounced Bergen. So Bergen scarf, it is mosaic. I'm going to take it off because it's quite warm in here. It's sunny today, and this room always gets quite warm when it's sunny. So this is mosaic, and you start on one end. I can't remember which end it started on actually, but that doesn't matter. Start on one end and you increase till you get to the full width, and then you knit straight for a bit, and then you decrease. And this is knitted using just 2 balls of yarn, and it's the Yataghan Merino cotton, which is incredibly soft. It's lovely to knit with. It's 50-50 merino and cotton, I think. Is it 50-50? Yes, 50-50 merino and cotton. It's a Danish company, and I really like this yarn, and I am working on it, using it for several projects at the moment. I really, really like it, and it's really affordable. It's only $4.50 per ball. So $4.50 per ball, you need 1 of each colour. These are the colours I use for this scarf. And with the pattern, so if you buy this at 50% off, so that's 9 times... So that's $7.65, and then you can get 25% off the pattern, which means the pattern is $3.75. What did I say the yarn was? $7.65 or something? So you can basically get the yarn and the pattern for about £11.50, if my maths is correct. Obviously, you have to pay shipping for the yarn, which I'm sorry, that is not cheap. But shipping is not cheap at the moment, unfortunately. I'm charging what the shipping costs. Shipping is going up again in April. I haven't looked at, I think it's April. I've seen other small business owners talking about it on social media, but I haven't actually looked yet to what it's going up to. But shipping is getting ridiculously expensive. But yeah, one of each of these are 50 grams, 250 gram DK yarns. These are 120 meters per 50 gram. So those are the ones I knitted this scarf in. I also pulled out some other color combinations that I quite like. So I have loads of different colors of this at the moment. So let's look at some other color combinations that I just pulled out quickly. So if you like purple, I really like those two together. That's amethyst color 1800, 1800, and this is 1620, which I think is called baby blue. Those are really nice together. I'm actually using this, or will be using this for another project at the moment. And then this one is really nice with that blue. There's also another lighter blue, a bit lighter than this, which I can't remember what it's called at the moment. This is color 904. I might, if I get time tomorrow morning, actually do some photographs of various color combinations. Light grey and a dark grey. This is 434 and this is 403. I think they're just called light grey and dark grey. I don't know. There's like a medium grey as well, so between these two. And this one would also go really nicely with that one if you don't like too much pink. And this one would also go really nicely with that pink if you just like a touch of pink. So lots of different color combinations for this scarf. So I knitted this scarf with a buttonhole. So I put in a buttonhole there, which includes instructions and a pattern, and a button there so that you can button it up. But if you don't want to put a button in, just don't do the buttonhole, and then you can use a shawl pin to fasten it here instead. I just decided that a buttonhole was more convenient because then I don't have to carry a shawl pin. But this is really nice if you want a lightweight scarf to wear under your coat, especially if you've got like one of those V-neck coats, like nice, you know, smart looking coats. This would be really nice. It's not too big, and because it's fastened, you don't have to fasten it. If you have a coat that goes up like that, you could just tuck it underneath your coat. But it's really nice because it's fastened. It's not going to blow around, and it's not too big and too thick. It's quite light. Even though it's DK yarn, it's quite lightweight with it being merino and cotton, but it's warm enough. I've worn this quite a lot since I finished it, which is a while ago now. I don't know why it's taken me so long to get the pattern out. But it's a very simple pattern, mosaic knitting, looks more complicated than it is. You're only knitting with one colour per row, and then the colour you're not knitting with, those stitches you're slipping. So in each row you're knitting some stitches and you're slipping other stitches. So it's really, really easy. And then on the wrong side row, you just do the same thing you did on the right side row. So on the right side row, for example, on this row here, I'm knitting all the dark pink and slipping all the light pink. Then on the following wrong side row, I'm just doing the same thing. I'm knitting all the dark pink colours and slipping all the light pink. And then in the next row, I'm knitting all the light pink and slipping all the dark pink. So it's very easy to do. And it's worth getting this pattern now because it's 25% off till the 23rd of March. And you can also get the yarn at 15% off, which makes this a really affordable accessory. If you're thinking, well, it's spring, do I want to knit an accessory now? Well, it's a small project, so it might be a good project to knit over the summer when it gets warmer. At the moment, temperatures have dropped a lot in the UK. When I got back last week, it was like 12-15 degrees. And now this morning, I think it's like 2 degrees. It's sunny today, so I guess it will get warmer throughout the day. And probably feel quite warm this afternoon, but at the moment it's quite chilly. So winter is not over yet if you live in the UK, and if you live somewhere else, I have no idea what your weather is like, but chances are you'll need this for a bit longer. So also, if you like knitting Christmas presents, this would be a really nice Christmas present because it's not too expensive and it's a small thing to knit. It doesn't take too long to knit. So that's the Bergen scarf, available on Ravelry and PayHip now. I will leave the link to it below, and also the discount code for the pattern and the discount code for my website, so you can get all that beautiful yarn at 15% off if you want to. Before we go on to what I'm knitting at the moment, let's just talk about these two scarves that I knitted in Norway, which I finally got around to blocking last night. I haven't written up the patterns yet for these, but I will do. So this is the Drops Air scarf. I used about half of each ball. I need to actually weigh this and work out exactly how much I used, but I think about half of each ball. So I got two colours when I went shopping in Oslo last time I was in Norway. I have a shopping vlog from Oslo on my channel, which I'll link below and at the end of this video. And I decided to cast them for a small scarf because small scarves are so popular at the moment. This came out longer. It did grow quite a bit in blocking. Be interested to see whether it stays that long or whether it shrinks. But you can make this any length. If you want it longer, you can keep increasing. It's quite easy to do. If you want it shorter, you can start decreasing earlier. I haven't written the pattern yet, but I might put some notes about that in the pattern. I am thinking about knitting this also in the Yatagam merino cotton just to see how that looks. So pattern may not be out for a while yet, because I have quite a few patterns that I need to write up at the moment. But you can wear it like that. It has a little bit of a lace detail just because I thought I'm going to get bored just doing garter stitch. I switched the colour halfway through, but if you had like one ball of drops there, you can knit the whole thing. Obviously it depends a bit on your tension. And it is long enough to just throw around your neck like that as well. So I quite like this. I don't know whether to keep this to myself or whether to give it to a friend. I've got a friend who's had her birthday in January, and I do quite often knit her something for her birthday, and I haven't seen her since before Christmas, so I haven't given her a birthday present yet. But I'll probably be seeing her in the not next week, but maybe the week after. So I need to decide whether I'm going to give this to her for her birthday or whether I'm going to keep it for myself. I haven't quite decided yet. I might also keep it for myself till I publish a pattern and then put it away and give it to somebody for Christmas next year. Or I might just keep it for myself. I don't know. And the other thing I knitted in Norway was this Norra scarf. This is 100-gram ball of Norra Silk Garden sock, which is thicker than like a standard sock weight. I would say it's more of a DK. It has 300 meters per 100 grams. And this was also blocked last night. It's a small scarf. I am knitting this one in a different yarn at the moment to make a slightly bigger version. Because when I knitted this, it didn't look that big. But now I blocked it, it's actually come out quite a bit bigger than I expected. But I'll talk about what I'm knitting it in a minute. Because that's about 2/3 of the way through, I think. So I quite like this. This is quite nice. This is like an asymmetrical triangle. Very simple, mostly garter stitch. With picots at the edges and at the cast off edge. I like this shape of the self-striping yarn. I think it looks really good. You could also put it with like the point at the front like that, like a classic shawlette we used to call this back in the day. I don't know whether people used to wear shawlette anymore, but that was a very popular term for these small scarves, shawls a while. You can also put it over your shoulder. Obviously bear in mind I am quite big, which is why I thought I would need a bigger version, because I thought this is going to be a bit small on me. But it's not actually. I quite like it. It's not as, it blocked out quite a bit bigger than I expected. So there we go. So I got this in the sale at my mum's local yarn shop. They have loads of baskets on their porch with stuff that's in the sale, and I got this for, I think, like less than £8. I got this and 100 grams sock yarn for less than £10, £9 something, I think. Obviously the exchange rate is in our favour at the moment. It's really good for British people visiting Norway at the moment. Not so good for Norwegians visiting the UK at the moment, but for us going to Norway is really good at the moment. So those are the two things I've finished. Let's keep talking about this for a little bit because I've cast that on in another yarn. Just trying to work out which bag that is in. So let's just talk about that before we get on to other things. So I decided to cast this on in a new yarn that I'm stocking. So this is, have I got the label? Yes. Cyberball Sterke 6. I have done German at school, but it's a long time ago. But a lot of German words are similar to Norwegian words. So I'm not sure whether Sterke means strong, sterk in Norwegian is strong. So I don't know whether sterk is basically the same word. I mean strong, I'm not sure. But this is color 2514. And it is like the Sabre Ball Crazy, but it's 6 ply weight. So it's like a thin DK sports weight. I think on the website they say it's DK, but I would say probably more like sports weight. It has about 600 meters, I think. Let's have a look. So it is 600, where is it? No, it's got 400 meters per 150 grams. So it's 150 grams, 400 meters, and would be really good for socks as well. I'm going to use this for socks as well at some point, but I decided to cast some for this. So I did 21 repeats in total on this one. I've done 16.5 on this one. I think I should get 28 repeats out of this one because it's 100 grams more. But I have a lot of yarn left, and I have 11.5 repeats to go. But the rows are getting longer now, so I'm using up the yarn quicker. But I love how this is knitting up. I would say it looks lighter in real life than what is looking on my screen at the moment. So I've just closed the curtain because the sun's starting to come in. Yeah, I think that looks a bit more realistic to what it actually looks like in real life. But I love that colour. I have a selection of these colours of this yarn on my website at the moment. I don't have a lot. I bought it for Unravel, but I only bought a few small selection because I thought I don't have enough patterns for it yet. So my goal is by YarnAddict to have a few patterns, including this one. And that has been one of my priority works in progress this week, because I would like to finish that so I can get the pattern for this finished and sent to my tech editor. So I'm kind of hoping I might be able to finish that this week, but I need to stop being distracted by other things because I've cast on a few other things as well. Let's talk about another project which is nearly finished. I was hoping to finish it yesterday. I mean, I sat down to knit yesterday afternoon. I finished work a bit early yesterday because I was just really tired. So 3 o'clock, I thought I've had enough, I'll go and knit. And I thought, let's try and finish this. And then I ended up getting distracted by social media, like I quite often do in the afternoon. And I also decided to start looking at passport renewal appointments. My passport is not due to be renewed till early next year, but I have a Norwegian passport. And it is cheaper and quicker to get it renewed when I'm in Norway. But I also was worried that, because I'm only in Norway for 2 weeks usually, whether that was going to be long enough. So the rules at the moment for people with a British passport is to travel to the EU, you need 6 months left on your passport. Mine is a Norwegian passport, so those rules don't apply to me. But I'm worried because we're going to Portugal in October, which is less than 6 months before my passport is due to expire. And I'm worried that the people who are at the gates at airports in this country, a lot of them don't know what the actual rules are. And I've seen loads of examples by one particular journalist who works for one of the major newspapers in this country. He regularly shares stories of people in situations like us where one of the parents is a European citizen and the rest are British, and the person with the European citizenship, the European passport, being denied boarding because they have less than 6 months to run on their passport, even though that's not the rules. So I've said to Simon I need to renew it before we go to Portugal. And I was looking at the embassy last night and they had some appointments available in March and early April, but I don't really want to go up to London that soon. And also it's going to be expensive because I got to pay for the train and 1 night in a hotel. So I looked to have it done in Norway because that's probably about half the price or 2/3 of the cost of having it done here. And they had some appointments. The first appointments was 2 days after we arrived when we go to Norway in May. So I quickly booked that appointment. So I spent like probably nearly an hour yesterday just browsing what I needed to renew my passport and fees and do I do it in London or do I do it in Norway and all that kind of stuff. So I wasted a lot of time yesterday doing that, although it's not really wasted time because I need to do that anyway. So I sat there for 2 hours and I knitted 1 round, which is rubbish. And that was on this project. And then yesterday evening I was like, I need to try and finish this, but I haven't quite done it. I have a few more rows, I think a couple of more rows on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 2 more rows on this side, which is actually 4 more rows in reality. I finished this side, and this is going to be a clutch bag. So once I finish this, I need to sew in the clutch frame and then sewing the lining. I have the lining already made, so I don't have to make the lining. So I would like to try and finish this today. If I can finish it before I edit this video, which I may not be able to do. I'm just checking what the time is to see if that's a possibility, because I'd like to get this edited before lunch so I can upload it to YouTube ready for tomorrow. Filming this on a Thursday. So if I finish this before lunch, before I edit this video, I will add a little section here. It's a couple of hours after I filmed the podcast and I have finished my new clutch bag. I need to actually oil the hinges a bit because it's a little bit squeaky, but I walked the dog after I finished filming the podcast, and then I came back and I sat down and I finished the knitting, sewed in the clutch frame and the lining. The lining I'd made a few weeks ago, and I made some linings for another clutch bag. So that's what it looks like, and that's the other side. So the pink is the Discreet Unicorn, and the lilac is Spectrum Fibre, and they're both a neon net, I think they're called. It's a DK yarn. It'll be interesting to see how these net bits, whether they stay in place, because while I was working on this, they were shedding and they were going on my clothes. So I might actually use this as a project bag for the headband I'm about to cast on, because it will give me a chance to see how much this yarn actually sheds. I'm also thinking about knitting it in the Yachtigar Merino cotton as well, but that won't be for a while yet. So the pattern will be out probably May time, I would guess, because I need to finish writing it and get it edited and all that kind of stuff. So it's not ready yet. And yes, I need to oil these hinges because they are a bit creaky. But I'm really happy with it. It's the same size as the Glamour clutch. This is knitted in Yachtigar Merino cotton. It's the same size because then I could use the same schematic and everything for the or cutting diagram for the lining. So that's why I did that. So that's what this one looks like inside. So I'm very happy with that, and I'm glad it's finished because it's been on the needles for far too long. What else have we got? I have made some progress on my sock that I showed you last week, but I can't find it. A few days ago, I know it was on the top of the bookcase in the hallway because I put it on there when we came home on Sunday. We went to a place called YarnAddict House, which is in Bodmin, which is a neighbouring town to where I live here in Cornwall. It's a National Trust property. It's been closed for a while because they were redoing the ceiling in their long gallery. And we went before Christmas, and they had like these walkways up, so you could actually get right up underneath the ceiling and look at it up close, which was quite interesting. And then I finished this. It's fully open, so we went there on Sunday because the weather was lovely. And I brought my knitting, did a bit of knitting while we were sitting outside having a drink and a slice of cake. But I know when I came home, I just chucked it on top of the bookcase, and now I can't find it. Oh, I've just remembered. I think it's actually in my workshop bag, because I think I put it in my workshop bag when I was teaching on Tuesday. So while I go and get that, I'll just show you the little clip that I filmed at YarnAddict House, National Trust property in Cornwall near Bodmin. Well worth visiting if you're here. I think it's the biggest National Trust property in Cornwall. They also have loads of bike tracks there, like mountain biking tracks. And you can rent bikes there as well, so it's quite a good day out for the family. So I'll show you that, and I'll get my socks. Okay, so I found my sock. It was in my workshop bag. I don't know why I didn't find it on Wednesday when I was unpacking my workshop bag. So this is the second sock. And I can't remember where I was last week, but I haven't done very much basically. A few rounds on Saturday and a few rounds on Sunday. Not a lot. So I thought I'd made more progress on those. So not a lot of progress on those, but these are just like my out and about socks at the moment. So depending on what we do this weekend, I might get a little bit more done on these over the weekend. But yeah, I thought I'd made more progress on those, but I haven't. Okay, so let's look at the next project. This I actually had cast on before Christmas, over Christmas, I can't remember, in Lang Merino 120, but I wasn't loving it. And it's also a yarn that I have stocked in the past. I may have a few balls left on my website, I can't remember, but it's not very popular when I do shows, and the Yataghan Merino cotton is very popular when I do shows. So I decided to rip out last week, or rather I pulled my needles out, I cut the yarn, and I just threw away what I'd knitted so far. It was probably about that much, and then I cast on again with Yataghan Merino cotton. So I'm using these two colours. I haven't got very far. The reason I went for pink is because it's a heart motif. It's actually, I think it's the same one that I'm using for this one. I cast on the first one before I started that cow. It's going to be a cushion, and as I said, I haven't got very far yet. This is not a priority project at the moment. I think I need to finish a few other things before I carry on with this. But I cast on for it last week and I haven't made a lot of progress. And I might just put this on hold till I finish a couple other things. Because the ones that I'm in the middle of writing the patterns, like these two, for example, and another thing, which I'm going to show you in a minute, are priorities, because the patterns for those are nearly ready to go to my tech editor. And I want to finish the second sample so that I can get those patterns out at some point. So going back to this one, I knitted this while I was in Norway in Spectrum Fibre. The pink is Love Struck, it's the 100% Superwash Merino DK, and the variegated colour is the April, I think, club colourway from last year. I did the yarn club last year for the first 6 months of the year, and this is the first skein I've used, and I only used a tiny amount of it. So I decided to knit this up in another colour. Again, when I sell patterns at shows, I want to be able to have it knitted up in my yarn. Oh, I haven't actually cast on for this yet. I got this together yesterday and I thought I cast on, but I haven't. But I've decided to re-knit this in Yataghan Merino cotton because it's such a affordable yarn. And I've chosen those two colours because I love those two colours. I was thinking about going for pink, but I was actually thinking about going for these two colours. But I thought, as I've got this in pink, maybe I should do another colour. So I chose those two because I love those two. So I'm going to use the purple for the pink here. And then I'm going to use the purple for the background colour and the light blue for the hearts. Because this one, it uses a lot more of the pink than the second colour, I want to try and see if I can get the whole cow out of two of these, so one of each colour, which means that I need to do the rib in a different colour from the hearts, because the actual colourwork pattern, there's a lot more of the pink, which I used for the hearts, than there is of the background colour. So I'm going to do the rib in the purple, because I like that against my face, and then I'm going to do that for the hearts. So this is going to be the rib and the background colour, and that's going to be the hearts. So I had planned to cast on this yesterday, but then I thought I need to finish this brioche clutch first because that's been on the needles for way too long. So I put this on hold, so I might try and cast on this evening. I'm not going to have a lot of knitting time this evening because we probably have to go grocery shopping tonight. And tomorrow I'm going to be out quite a bit because I'm going to go to Plymouth and start a new contact lens trial. If you've noticed, I've not been wearing contact lenses very much lately. I like wearing them for filming because I don't get this annoying ring light showing in my glasses. I've tried to position them. I have two ring lights. I've tried to position them so that they don't show my glasses, but it's really difficult. My eyesight has gotten worse in the last year, and my contact lenses were never as good as my glasses anyway. but they were getting considerably worse to the point where I was really struggling to do anything while wearing them. Wear them for working out, but I can't really do anything else. Like seeing my computer was really difficult. Reading and knitting, I'd need reading glasses for even just looking at my phone, which I didn't do before. And it was just becoming a bit annoying. So I went and got an eye test a few weeks ago, and I got new glasses. And tomorrow I'm going for a trial for new contact lenses. So you might see me in contact lenses when I film next week. We'll see. So we are coming to the end of all the new projects. The other projects I started working on the pattern for this week is this headband that I knitted when I was in Norway. So I knitted this on the day I travelled to Norway in February. Perfectly put on. Need to really be in front of a mirror to put it on, but I knitted this on the way to Norway. Quick and easy project. I'm thinking about this for a workshop project really, but I would probably release the pattern as well, but I was thinking mainly for a workshop project. So I'm going to knit it again in a yarn that I sell and a yarn that's a bit more affordable. So this was knitted in Spectrum Fibre Superwash Merino. It's the pink I used for this. I knitted this on the way to Norway, and I want to just see if I can get it out of 150 gram ball of this. This actually weighs a little bit over 50 gram, like 51 grams, but that includes the beads, and this is a slightly thicker yarn, I think. So I want to knit in this and see what it looks like. Because it's just a small headband, I think making it like a really affordable project would be a good idea. So that's what I'm going to do. I got this yarn out yesterday. I wrote the pattern for that yesterday. I'd written like the draft pattern before I went to Norway, and then I kind of put it into my full like layout thing yesterday, and made some alterations that I'd made on the train going to Norway or going to London, but I hadn't corrected the pattern yet, so I did that yesterday. And then I thought I will knit it in this, because then it will match the new cow I'm knitting in the purple and this blue. So that's the same blue. And then I'm going to do purple beads. So I brought that down with me yesterday, and then it was when I brought that down yesterday and I was like, why haven't I got another project bag? Because I didn't pick up a project bag up here, because I thought I must have some downstairs. I mean, I have loads up here as well, but I thought I'll probably have a spare one downstairs. And then I started going through my basket and I found that brioche clutch pattern, and I was like, why haven't I finished this yet? So I was like, right, I need to finish this before I cast on anything else. So I might cast this on this afternoon, because this would be an easy project to knit on when I'm out and about this weekend, apart from the fact that it has beads. So that's a little bit annoying, but it only has like 4 beads per repeat. I think it's about 11 repeats. It's not a lot of beads. So I want to try and finish that. I'm hoping I can finish that over the weekend. That's my plan, so I can get the pattern to my tech editor next week. I also need to film a tutorial to go with it. So my plan is to try and finish that this weekend. So I'll probably, once I finish the brioche clutch, I'll probably prioritize that headband project and try and see if I can get that finished over the weekend and the pattern finished on Monday and off to my tech editor on Monday afternoon. That would be really good. And then do the cow after that. And I would also like to try and finish the Sabball 6-ply, the Sabball Sticky 6-ply over the weekend as well. So my main goal this week is to finish that new headband, or knit it because I'm cast on yet, and the Sabball Sticky 6-ply shawl this weekend, and then work on the cow. I think they are my 3 priority projects this week. So I am also thinking about a new project. I was teaching a spin yarn on Tuesday, and I picked up a ball of sock yarn. Isn't that gorgeous? I love that colour. That's how it knits up. One of the ladies in my workshop attends a sock knitting group or class at Spin Yarn, and she said somebody there was using this, and I think I could only see one on the shelves. They have a big wall full of sock yarn, and I always find something there that's tempting, and I have so much of this kind of standard opal, regia, whatever sock yarn, that I really shouldn't buy it, but I just love this colour. So this is opal. Really like that colour. If I can finish the Sabball ones before we go to Edinburgh. We're going to Edinburgh for a few days in April to celebrate my daughter's 30th birthday. So I'm hoping to finish those sandball socks before we go, and then I'm thinking maybe I'll cast some for these, because I'll need hours and hours and hours of car knitting, and socks are really easy. Up in our car, all four of us, we're going to go up to Wales first, where my daughters live, have 2 nights in Wales, and then go up to Edinburgh from there. So a little bit shorter to drive, probably like an hour or 2 shorter. So not a lot, but a little bit shorter. Our daughters can't drive our car. They're not insured to drive our car, so Simon and I have to keep swapping the driving. And one of my daughters is going to be car sick, so if she's not driving, she needs to sit in the front. So I'll either be driving or sitting in the back. And if I'm sitting in the back, I need something fairly easy to knit that I don't need to look at very much, because I'm not as prone to car sickness, but more if I'm sitting in the back. So that's what I'm thinking about doing. Cast them for a pair of very simple socks. So I might make these my Edinburgh socks, but I don't know yet. We'll see. I might change my mind by then. The other project I'm thinking about is I want to do a sweater in Models Uruguay Merino, which is their lace weight 100% merino yarn. It is singles yarn, and I was thinking about knitting my the V-neck sweater I've knitted in the Daima alpaca silk yarn. I've done a grey one and I've done 2 pink ones. I haven't written off the pattern yet. It is on my list to do. And I was thinking about trying to knit that in this yarn as well. But because this is a singles yarn, it's quite thin. I mean, it has the same meterage as the Daima alpaca silk, but because that's a bit fluffy, it feels thicker. And I've been umming and ahhing about this for ages, not sure about what colour to use, but this is one of the colours I was considering because I like this colour and it goes with a lot of my clothes. And I thought this would be really good for the summer because it's not fluffy and it's going to be very thin and lightweight, but it is merino, so I can still wear it in the winter. I was thinking this might be good for the summer. And I was thinking, do I want to use this yarn or not? West Yorkshire spinners do a yarn called Exquisite Lace, which is merino and silk, I think. And that's lovely. I've used that for loads of stuff, and I think they do a really nice, quite bright purple in that. So I was thinking maybe I'll just get that. Because it's lace weight yarn, I don't need that much. I think probably just 200 grams might be enough. So last week, I think it was just after I got back from Norway, I saw one of the yarn shops in Oslo that I didn't go to this last time I went to Norway, but I went to the previous time. They had a yarn with like sequins on it, and they'd held it together with something else, and it looked absolutely gorgeous. And I was like, oh, that looks really nice. Maybe I want to do something where I mix in sequins. And I was like, oh, why didn't I go to that shop when I was in Oslo? But I know why I didn't, because it's a little bit more difficult to get to, and also because the yarn came on cones, I probably wouldn't have bought it anyway because it would have been difficult to get home with me. But when I was looking around at the yarn, they had a spinny yarn on Tuesday in my lunch break. I saw this yarn. I don't know how easy it is to see on camera, but it has got teeny tiny sequins. These are very, very small sequins. They had it in this colour. I think it was like a peachy pink and like a neutral colour, I think. But I thought, I wonder whether that will go with that. It's a bit more blue than this yarn, but this yarn has got blues and lilac in it. So what I'm thinking about doing is knitting up a swatch this week, holding these two together just to see what it looks like and what the tension is. And I don't know whether I'm going to knit the Daima alpaca silk sweater. It depends on the tension. If I can get roughly the same tension, I will do. If the tension is very different, then I'll knit something else. But I was thinking it'd be really nice to knit up a lightweight sweater, and I'd like to finish it. I mean, I'd like to finish it when we go to Edinburgh in April. I don't know how warm Edinburgh normally is in April, but I imagine it could either be quite cold or it would be quite nice and warm spring weather. Who knows? But I'm also going back to Norway in May, and I was thinking it'd be ideal for Norway in May. Last year when I was in Norway in May, it was really, really hot. It was like mid-20s, sunshine every single day. But that's not normal for middle of May in Norway, so I don't think it'll be like that again. That would be very fortunate if it was. So I'm thinking about holding those two together. So I bought one of these. I need to swatch this weekend because I'm going back to spinning yarn on Tuesday next week to teach another workshop. I'm teaching finishing techniques, and there are still a couple of spaces left on that workshop if you're interested. So finishing techniques, a spinning yarn in Bovey Tracy, Devon on Tuesday. Contact the shop. I'll put their details on the screen and below. There are still 1 or 2 spaces left, I think. And then if I decide to do it, I can work out how much I need of these and pick up more. I can't remember how much this was, but it was quite cheap. So it wouldn't cost very much to add this to this yarn. Quite often when you end up knitting 2 strands together, it can increase the price a bit, but this is quite cheap. It is 25 grams and it has 375 meters and it's 100% lyocell. It is from Rico. Creative Make It Bloomchen is what it's called. So yeah, we'll see what that looks like. I don't really want to wind a new ball of this or new hank of this in case I don't like it, so I might have a look and see if I have a bit of leftover of this somewhere in my leftover stash that I can use to knit a swatch. And then if I decide to go ahead with it, I might be casting on for that next week. Problem is I also have some magazine deadlines coming up. I have one in April. Yarn has arrived. I need to wind one of the skeins today and knit a swatch today or tomorrow, well, or by Sunday really. And then I need to decide whether I'm going to knit it, when I'm going to ask one of my sample knitters to knit it. And I need to decide that really by the end of the weekend, and then message them and ask if anyone's interested in knitting it. Because I've got so many samples I'm working on for other projects at the moment, I am thinking about asking one of my sample knitters if they can do the deadline project. It's not due till towards the end of April, so it's quite a long deadline, because then I can get on and get some of these smaller projects done and dusted, because I really like them all finished, patterns edited, ready to release by the end of April, or definitely before I go to Norway in May. That's kind of the deadline I've set myself. I may not release all of them straight away. Some of the winter accessories I may hang on to till later in the summer. I don't know. But I'm trying to be better this year. And so far this year I've failed. Last year I wasn't very good at releasing self-published patterns. I knitted quite a lot of stuff that I didn't write up the pattern for. So I'm trying to be better this year and releasing patterns regularly. A few years ago I got into a routine where I was releasing 2 patterns a month. Self-published patterns plus magazine stuff. And the problem is when you release patterns, it doesn't just mean you sell more of the new pattern, obviously, but you also sell more of your old patterns. So if you don't release a pattern for a long time, your old patterns sell less. So that's why I'd like to get back into a routine of releasing more patterns. 2 patterns a month might be a bit much, depends on what it is, but I would like to try and do more, at least 1 pattern a month, or I don't know, 1 every 6 weeks or something. So that's why I'm trying to get some small projects. There's also some other things I'm thinking about, especially for YarnAddict, but I'm not going to talk about that yet because I haven't quite fleshed out the idea properly. Next Tuesday, 18th of March, Finishing Techniques Workshop at Spinning Yarn in Bovey Tracy. 29th of April, I'm doing toe-up socks at Spinning Yarn in Bovey Tracy. There's still some spaces left on that workshop. 28th of March, I'm at the Knitting Hotel doing brioche knitting. If you're interested, check out to see where you can come as a day guest. I think it's probably fully booked, but you can come as a day guest, probably for the workshop or for the whole weekend. It just means you stay offsite. If you're local, obviously you can just come for the day and go home at night, I guess. But that's on the 28th of March. I'll put the Knitting Hotel website below as well. And then I've got the 15% off my website, which I've extended till the 23rd of March. And I've got 25% off the Bergen pattern, also until the 23rd of March, and you can get the yarn for that on my website. So that is it for this week. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. The Tuesday video this week was on my favorite yarn weights. So if you haven't watched that, go and watch it. And the Tuesday video next week is going to be a review of a needle that I'd never heard of before till about, I don't know, a month ago. So one of you lovely viewers asked if I tried the C-knit bamboo needles, so I immediately ordered one. I have now tried them, and I'm going to give you my review of those on Tuesday next week, so don't miss that. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't, and if you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, go to YarnAddict.co.uk and subscribe to that as well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.